Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners meeting on this May 23rd, 2024. Gary Schmidt, please call the roll.
Yes, Chair Smith. First, our staff support today. Clerk to the Board, Tony Marinick. County Counsel, Stephen Madcorb. Online is Commissioner Schrader. Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
In the room, Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Shull.
Here.
Chair Smith.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We are holding this meeting in person and virtually. If you've joined us via Zoom for this meeting and are interested in providing public comment, we will prompt you when to do that when the time is right. General public comment will be taken at the usual allotted time. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, all elected officials, and members of the public that Robert's Rules of Order will be followed in this business meeting. We welcome your participation and look forward to your polite comments. I will now recess as a Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Housing Authority Board.
You are now meeting as a Housing Authority of Clackamas County Board of Directors. Housing Commissioner Leenstra was not able to join, so she is not online. This is a Housing Authority consent agenda. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Housing Authority Consent Agenda 1 item, approval of Resolution 1987 acknowledging the fiscal year 2023 audit findings and approving the plan of corrective action to address the findings in accordance with Oregon Revised Statute 297.466. No fiscal impact, no county general funds are involved.
Thank you, Tony. Does any commissioner or director wish to remove anything from this consent agenda?
Commissioner Leenstra has just joined the meeting.
Welcome, Commissioner Leenstra.
She's not on the screen yet.
We'll
She's
wait
here.
for her to get on the
There
screen.
she is. Commissioner Leenstra, welcome.
Sorry, the computer was not behaving this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Leenstra. The clerk has just read the consent agenda for the Housing Authority, and I asked, does any commissioner wish to remove anything from this consent agenda? I will call for your motion, Commissioner Leenstra.
I move we approve the Housing Authority consent agenda as read.
Second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Leenstra has moved the approval of the Housing Authority consent agenda, and Commissioner West has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, please take the poll.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Shull.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Leenstra.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much, Commissioner Leenstra, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
I will now adjourn as a Housing Authority Board and reconvene as a Board of County Commissioners. Gary, what's next?
Next is a presentation proclaiming May 2024 as Aviation Month in Clackamas County. Commissioner West has proposed this idea, and if you'd like to take it from here, Commissioner West.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier this week, and the governor made, I think, a great proclamation supporting aviation in Oregon, the history of aviation in Oregon, its importance not just to businesses but transportation and infrastructure. Marion County, also having a rich aviation history, did the same. And so I think that we have a lot to be proud of here in Clackamas County, and this is a great thing for us to support and to make a proclamation. Now, we don't make a lot of proclamations, and sometimes they become, in my opinion, just a little overwrought and overdone, but I think that this is a really important area for us to focus on, and declaring Aviation Month in May, also following suit with the governor's leadership. Board, in front of you is the whereas statements, that proclamation which is being proposed. It was also sent to your emails. We just have a packed schedule going into budget week, so we're trying to get it done in May like everyone else did. And I think we did a good job coming up with something that kind of blends the importance on a county level perspective, along with what the governor stated, I think, in her great proclamation also. And so with that, should I read this proclamation?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Proclaiming May 2024 as Aviation Month in Clackamas County, whereas Clackamas County is home to more than 20 public and private use airports and helipads, including the Portland-Malino Airport, and whereas the Aurora Airport, which is located just outside Clackamas County border in Marion County, is utilized by many Clackamas County-based businesses such as Wilson Construction, Napa Auto Parts of Wilsonville, and Teledyne FLIR, and provides essential services to the region such as LifeFlight. And whereas aviation industries play a critical employment role in Clackamas County and offer high-paying skilled jobs to the people of Clackamas County, and whereas the public airports provide important links to air traffic in the state and provide essential safety and emergency services to Clackamas County, and whereas Oregon was the first state in the union to create an aviation department and to issue licenses to pilots and aircraft, and whereas the Oregon has 4,500 registered general aviation aircraft, 10,800 licensed pilots, and 97 public use pilots, and now therefore it is hereby proclaimed that Clackamas County Board of Commissioners declares May 2024 as Aviation Month and encourages all Oregonians to celebrate the rich history of aviation industry in the state. And it looks like it will be signed by our chair, Tootie Smith.
Thank you. I sign it. It doesn't, all the commissioners don't sign?
It's your choice. Normally you sign
We all
them.
can sign it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think it's really important to note that we're the first state in the union to have an aviation department, and I would have never guessed that. I would have thought maybe it'd been Kitty Hawk. Was it North Carolina or South Carolina?
Yeah.
Right. Something more significant than maybe Oregon, but certainly we're gaining on the importance of aviation in Oregon. This is well written. I want to thank you. There is a little bit of a typo in the second paragraph, third line.
Yes.
Second line, such as Wilson Construction. Add that, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think it's great if all five of us want to sign this. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, I'm in support of this. I appreciated the discussion and didn't know walking in on Tuesday that this was going to be a topic. And the more I thought about it, yesterday, last night, and I thought about, I think I mentioned to you, kind of dropped I've been at airports involved in aviation one way or another since I was a little kid. So I remember ribbon cuttings and I don't know exactly what it is at LAX. I was inclined to go back and look it up because I think it was about 6 or 7 years old. So I got to figure out what ribbon cutting it was at LAX. Long Beach Airport, McDonnell Douglas, all those, my family heavily in aircraft, whether in the private sector or my uncle as a pilot, and my family who served in the World War II and other wars, but also reflecting on Oregon's history, the Tillamook Museum with the airships, McMinnville's museum. In hindsight, we could have wrapped a lot more in this to give it some more girth, but I just think it's important to just recognize, number one, all the people that served in our wars, and also the history of Oregon's aviation experiences and so forth, and successes. So that said, I just want to just make those comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. I do know this came up faster than usual, but that's because we have a budget all next week, and we wanted to get it on. And we just found out that the governor did this, Marion County. We have really a robust partnership with Marion County with the aviation and Aurora Airport. Thank you. Commissioner Scholl?
Yes, it's also important for people to know that at the Aurora Airport, we have some unique aviation assets. Evergreen Aviation operates the Sikorsky Sky Crane heavy lift helicopters, and also there is Columbia Helicopters that operates the Boeing Vertals, designated as the CH-43 and CH-48 helicopters in the United States military. So these are great assets for firefighting, logging, construction, and they bring a lot of good jobs for the people of Clackamas County. Thank you.
Commissioner West.
Yeah, Commissioner Salvis, you talking about aviation in the area just totally reminded me of how much as a kid I used to love to go to the Bomber Cafe in Milwaukee. And now you couldn't get gas under its wings for a long time now, but I would go there with my grandpa after church, and he would come pick me up, and we would go to the Bomber Cafe, and the whole thing was themed after World War II aircraft, and forever, such a big staple within Clackamas County was this old B-17 bomber that the family owned and is still working to this day to restore. And it's like a little museum, but it was those moments like going to the Hillsborough Air Show and watching the Blue Angels and then having their posters in my room, and then the little balsa wood airplanes my grandpa and I would make. Also, we have lunch at the Bomber, then go back to the house, and we would make little balsa wood airplanes with rubber bands that spin up a pillar and fly them across the yard or park. So such rich history throughout the entire region. I said previously we have the spruce goose here now. We've had a number of really important pieces of our history highlighted here in Oregon and all throughout the West Coast, even through California and Washington too. So I don't know, I just wanted to remember with you guys the Bomber Cafe and that old B-17 that was such a cool figure within our community and kind of like a landmark for decades.
Isn't that being refurbished at Aurora Airport in the hangar?
No, it's at Salem Airport.
Is it
Salem Airport, yeah.
Okay, because there was a piece of an engine there, because I viewed it several years ago, but maybe it's all down in Salem.
We're trying to get flight worthy again.
Yeah, they are. They are. I'll come right back to you. Martha Schrader.
Yes, I have very fond memories of the Bomber as well. And Punky Scott told me the story about how her father flew it there, and I believe he landed it actually on the roadway in front on McLaughlin as a kind of a flying stunt. So I'll check that myth out, but it seems to me it was quite the feat. And the other thing I'd like to mention is because of the World War II era, that Punky and her family for years, I still think they're doing this, have been supporting veterans, having a place for them to have a cup of coffee, meet, and I do believe there's still a military museum on that site as well. So, and aviation is one of our bigger traded sectors in this state. So thank you, Ben, for the proclamation.
Thank you. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, when Commissioner West mentioned the spruce goose, I was thinking, okay, yeah, I have a whole bunch of family that worked at Hughes Aircraft, right? And the spruce goose was stored and built in Long Beach, right, at the Terminal Island area. And so for years it was there. And then Terry Emmert was, I think, the contractor that moved it up here.
Clackamas County.
And navigated up the Willamette River to, so yeah, there's a lot of history, a lot of memories. But yeah, it's good to reflect on that.
Wasn't there a movie? Howard Hughes movie?
Yeah, with Leonardo DiCaprio.
And didn't he build the Spruce Goose? Didn't he pay for it?
Howard Hughes did,
Yes,
out
yeah.
of his private, yeah.
That's a really interesting movie if you get a chance to watch it. It's many years old now, probably 20 years old, but it's still timely. Any other further discussion, folks?
Did Gary have thoughts? I think his light was on.
No, that was Martha.
Oh, okay.
Martha, yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I move that we approve the proclamation declaring May 2024 as Aviation Month in Clackamas County.
Seconded.
Commissioner West has moved we approve the proclamation that May 2024 as Aviation Month in Clackamas County, and Commissioner Savas has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, everyone. Yay! All righty, we need to move on. Where am I at? Gary, what's next?
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Clackamas County Consent Agenda, elected officials, item 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. Finance, item 1, approval of a resolution acknowledging the fiscal year 2023 audit findings and approving the plan of corrective action to address the findings in accordance with Oregon Revised Statute 297.466. No fiscal impact, no county general funds are involved. Clackamas 911, also known as CCOM. Item 1, approval to apply for congressionally directed spending grant award to fund Clackamas 911 Enhanced Incident Response Projects. Grant value is $750,000 over 3 years, with a $250,000 match through Clackamas 911 member agencies. Funding through the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. No county general funds are involved. Transportation and Development. Item 1, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Clackamas County Fair Board for project management and funding of the new Fairground and Event Center multi-use building. Agreement value is $5,077,777. Funding is through county allocated ARPA funds and Business Oregon grant funds. No county general funds are involved. Disaster Management. Item 1, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Clackamas Community College for repair of sidewalk damage during operation of the warming shelter in January. Total value is $200,000. Funding through Metro Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. Health, Housing, Human Services. Item 1, approval of a revenue agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for operations of the Mount Hood Express. Agreement value is $500,000 for 2 years. Funding is through statewide transportation improvement funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval to apply for a grant from Health Share for community capacity building funds to implement the Medicare Section 1115 demonstration waiver housing supports benefit in Clackamas County. Anticipated grant value is $1,600,000 for 18 months. Funding through a federal grant. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval to apply for a grant with the Federal Health Resources and Services Administration for behavioral health service expansion. Total possible value is $1,100,000 for 2 years. Funding through the Federal Health Resources and Services Administration. No county general funds are involved. Madam Chair, that concludes the list.
Thank you. Does any commissioner wish to pull any item off the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval of the consent agenda.
Seconded.
Commissioner Savas has moved approval of the consent agenda, and Commissioner Shull has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Would the clerk please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Shull.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. I will now recess as a Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Clackamas County Development Agency Board of Directors. Gary, what's next?
Next is the consent agenda for the Development Agency of Clackamas County. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Development Agency Consent Agenda. 1 item, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Clackamas River Water relating to the Southeast Monroe Street Improvement Project. Total value is a maximum of approximately $1,426,616. Funding through Clackamas River Water. No county general funds are involved.
Does any commissioner wish to remove this from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Seconded.
Commissioner West has moved approval of the consent agenda for the Development Agency, and Commissioner Shull has seconded the motion. Further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the poll.
Director Schrader.
Aye.
Director Savas.
Aye.
Director Shull.
Aye.
Director West.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you. I will now adjourn as a Development Agency Board and convene as a Water Environment Services Board of Directors. Gary, what's next?
Next is the consent agenda for Water Environment Services. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Water Environment Services Consent Agenda. 1 item, approval of amendment number 1 to a contract with Jacobs Engineering Group Incorporated for sanitary sewer master plan consulting to add the Richardson Creek Basin and the Country Village area in Oregon City to the sanitary sewer master plan. Amendment value $173,125. Contract value now increased to $472,761. Funding through Water Environment Services sanitary sewer operating funds. No county general funds are involved.
Does anyone wish to remove this from the consent agenda? Excuse me, Director, I stand corrected. I will entertain a motion.
I move for approval of the Water Environment Services consent agenda.
Seconded.
Director Savas has moved for approval of the Water Environment Services consent agenda, and Director Shull has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please take the poll?
Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director West,
Aye.
Director Scholl,
Aye.
Director Zabas,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. I will now adjourn as a Water Environment Services Board and reconvene as a Board of County Commissioners. We are already at public communication. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon Revised Statutes and County Code. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes. Comments shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be made part of the public record. I will now open the meeting for public testimony and take in-person testimony first. Is there anyone in the room who would like to testify today? I don't see any blue cards at my desk here. Tony says no. Thank you. Tony, is there anyone online who wishes to testify?
If you would like to testify, please use the raise hand feature, and I will call on you in the order received. Madam Chair, I do not have any hands raised.
Okay, thank you. Well, I will now close public communication portion of this meeting, and we will move on. Gary, what's next?
Next is County Administrator Update. That's me. I like to share the great work of our county employees during my update today. I'd like to recognize our employees of our 911 Center, which we call CCOM. Canby Fire held an event this week to honor 3 different CPR Saves Lives from last year. And those saves include 9 of our CCOM dispatchers who help save people's lives through their work as our 911 dispatcher. And these employees are, who did this great work to save lives: Amber Ospina, Nathan Rose, Ben Postlethwaite, Beth Spreadborough, Megan Lensky, Noel Metz, Kate Portinga, Shelby Anderson, and Caprice Killinger. Thank you for our incredible employees who help save lives, literally, through their work at our 911 CCOM Center. Next, I like to share about potholes and how we fix them right away within 7 days. Another example, this is in the Molalla area. A resident wrote in, "I was pleasantly surprised this morning as I drove down Blair Road towards Maple Grove Road. The potholes have been repaired, and I am so thankful and thrilled. I passed a neighbor in the dip, and we waved and smiled a smile that I know recognized that the holes were filled. Thank you for your speedy repair. Please thank the repair crews for all of us in this area that use that road frequently." So thank you to our road crews in the Department of Transportation and Development. And again, when our staff is aware of a pothole, they fix it within 7 days of reporting, and it's been confirmed. So that's speedy work by our staff. Thank you. Next, 2 quick final announcements. The board next week will be meeting as the Budget Committee all week, May 28th through 31st. There'll be no board meeting next Thursday, May 30th. The next board meeting will be Thursday, June 6th at 10 a.m. And then finally, Mr. Stephen Madcore, this is his last day as county council at a business meeting. His retirement is next week, but this is his last business meeting at Clackamas County. He's been county council for 13 years. 13 years. He's been a phenomenal resource for the Board of Commissioners, for the staff, and for me personally. Stephen, congratulations. Thank you for your service. You will be missed.
Thank you, Gary.
Yay, Stephen.
That is my update today. Thank you, Commissioners.
Gary, would you like to give us a report on the ballot returns and what's happening in elections?
Thank you very much. I have spoken with Clerk Catherine McMullen, and she gave me an update, which is, by the way, on the elections website of the Clackamas County website, so members of the public may read that directly. I'm stalling as I pull up the email real quick here. All right. As of yesterday, the turnout in Clackamas County for the May 24 primary election was 30.15%. So far, 40,000 ballots were turned in on Election Day. That is approximately then 94,278 ballots that have been collected so far. However, there are still postmarked ballots that were mailed on Tuesday that are still being collected. And there's approximately 14,000 of those that are still being collected and put in the pile. So that would be added to the 94,000 number I just gave you. Of the, at this point, 94,278 ballots collected, 65,200 252 ballots have been counted as of 4:30 p.m. yesterday, May 22nd. That leaves approximately 29,026 ballots left to count, and that will be higher based on what I just said, the postmarked ballots that are still being collected. Clerk McMullen has a strong group of volunteer or election temporary workers who are working 12-hour shifts today, tomorrow, into the weekend if necessary. And those reports will be tallied at the end about 5 p.m. each day. So there's still more ballots to count. Nothing's done until it's done, but that's the election update as of right now.
And she has extended her staff time to,
Basically 12-hour shifts, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Yes.
good, and so there still will be ballots trickling in because the law was changed to allow for postmarks. So how long will they be receiving those ballots?
I think as long as it was postmarked,
Okay,
then until it gets arrived, so.
okay. I didn't know if there was a 7-day final on that or
Stephen,
not.
you
I
know,
just
is
don't
there a-
remember.
I do not know.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, good. Well, thank you very much for that,
7
Gary.
days.
Is it 7 days?
It's 7 days. It
Yeah,
has to be received within the 7 days after being postmarked.
Okay, so that would be next
Can't be
Tuesday.
a forever ballot.
So we could have a few coming in. And as I remember last time that happened, and if we could have some historical data, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to bug the clerk with that now, but there were some significant amount. I was surprised it came in after, with a postmark day after Election Day, maybe a couple thousand. Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to Commissioner Communication. Up first, Commissioner Schrader.
Yes, colleagues, I first want to thank Mr. Madcorp for all the hard work he's done for us all these years. It's been a pleasure to work with you. I've always enjoyed our conversations, and I am looking forward to being at your retirement party this afternoon. And I think it will be a great one, but we will miss you greatly. And the other comment I have is a bit lighthearted. I wanted to thank Commissioner West for Aviation Month. I think that's important. But one of the other more serious things that we celebrate in May or think about is Mental Health Awareness Month. So this is also the month that we think about people who have mental illness and remember that as a county, in many ways, behavioral health and mental health is a key part of what we do to help our citizens in this county. And Commissioner Shull, I also found out today is National Military Appreciation Month. So thank you for your service. And let's thank all of your colleagues who have served this country valiantly on our behalf to maintain our freedoms. And in a more lighthearted vein, I'm going to also say, because I have a Labradoodle, May is also Doodle Month. So for all of you out there that have Labradoodles.
Dogs, the Labradoodles.
It's a dog, it's my puppies, okay? This is the lighthearted one, okay? So, and all of you out there that have Labradoodles, make sure they get some extra treats today because May is their month. Okay, thank you, Chair, that's all I have.
Commissioner Schrader, when you said Doodle Month, I thought maybe I needed to get my crayons out.
No, it's the new thing we call Labradoodles. We call them
Okay.
the
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Shull, you're up.
Yes, good morning, Clackamas County. On elections, I'd like to thank all the volunteers of Clackamas County who've been helping our clerk tally those ballots. And also, a thank you to the members of the clerk's election staff for their professional work in this primary election. And I also want to thank everybody who voted. It's very important that everybody vote. A couple comments on elections and federal laws affecting our election process. One example is the National Voter Registration Act of 1973, also known as Motor Voter Act. I believe this law unconstitutionally requires states to automatically register voters when they apply for a driver's license or public assistance. And I think this may be contributing to some inaccurate voter registration. Another harmful federal law I think that needs to be changed is titled the Help America Vote Act, and among other provisions of that law, it requires states to purchase electronic voting machines, and there's been a lot of problems with that, especially early on with technical problems, and it continues to be a source of concern for many voters. I'm not saying we have the problem in Clackamas County, I'm talking nationwide now. And also the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Act, which was passed in '86, ensuring that military people deployed overseas got a chance to vote. It's been expanded, and I think that expansion has caused some other problems. Another problem that I think needs to be changed at the federal level is Title 18 of the U.S. Code regarding voting by aliens, Section 611C. And this amended the U.S. immigration law to effectively allow non-citizens to vote in federal elections if, quote, now get ready for this, if, quote, they reasonably believed at the time of voting that he or she was a citizen of the United States. Now, if that's not a bit crazy, I don't know what is. So I bring this to your attention today, and I would implore people of the county to look at these laws and talk to your state or your representative or senator to the U.S. Congress and see about getting these things changed. We need to make sure that every citizen in America votes, is legal, and is confident in the election process in the United States of America. On Metro, I just want to run a couple of things by you this morning. Metro was formed in 1979. It covers approximately 460 square miles of parts of Clackamas County, Multnomah County, and Washington County, and also encompasses some 25 cities. And something that you might not know is, according to the voter-approved Metro Charter of 1992, Metro has primary responsibility for regional land use and transportation planning, and is further empowered to address any other issue of metropolitan concern. Now, here's another one. Hold on to your seat now. In 1997, the legislature approved House Bill 3638, which allows Metro electors to amend its charter without seeking corresponding changes in state statute. Now, is that why Metro seems to be growing all the time? Give that some thought. So today, that small regional government that was responsible for the zoo and recycling and trash back in the early days, 1979, now employs 1,600 employees and has a beginning fund balance going into 1 July for the next fiscal year of $1,173,532,333. And a total resource expected in the budget for FY 24-25 of $2,094,000,000 and some change. So you can look at the Metro budget for FY 24-25 at OregonMetro.gov, proposed budget 2024-25. And take a look at that and ask yourself, is that budget providing you with the equal return and benefits for your tax dollar? You decide. Now, on the budget for Clackamas County, next week is budget week, and I want to ask everyone in the county to be involved. We have a 10-member budget committee composed of 5 commissioners and 5 appointed people from across the county. And the budget officer, which is Gary Schmidt, will present the budget starting next Tuesday with special districts, and I want you to know what they are. They are Street Lighting District, Library Service District, Housing Authority of Clackamas County, the Clackamas County Extension and 4-H Service District, Enhanced Law Enforcement District, Clackamas County Development Agency, the North Clackamas County Parks and Recreation District, and Water Environment Services. And you can see those budgets online. And that will be followed by the presentation of the general budget. The final day next week is deliberation day. And on that day, members of the budget committee will make motions to reduce an amount or add to an amount on the budget, or maybe make a motion to strike or defund something from the budget. And you can, everyone in the county today can look at the budget at the clackamas.us/budget. It's on there for you to look at. And make sure when you do, you have your reading glasses on and some Excedrin headache pills, because I guarantee you'll need them. So it's your budget, it's your money. Some of it comes directly from your property taxes. Some comes from the state and federal grants. But indirectly or directly, it all comes from your wallet and your business bottom line. So be involved. Citizen participation, what does it do for us? Well, it helps with accountability, representation, informed decision-making, increased trust, better allocation of resources, empowerment of the people, and improved outcomes. Make your voices heard. And please, if you have ideas on the budget, send me an email, markshull@clackamas.us, and I will consider whatever ideas you have when it comes to deliberation day next week. Talk to me. This government belongs to the people of Clackamas County. Now, a couple words on Memorial Day. I'd like to send out a special prayer to all the moms and dads who had sons and daughters who never came home. And I want to make sure that in the future that our sons and daughters of America, the sons and daughters of our moms and dads, are never deployed into harm's way without a clear and present threat to U.S. national security. Period. End of sentence. Thank you, Clackamas County, for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner Shaw. Commissioner West, you're up.
I missed last week's meeting because I was at I was invited to attend a symposium, the Oregon Child Abuse Symposium in Hayden Meadows over in Jansen Beach. And Clackamas County had really good representation. I represented the board there. The DA's office was there. We had the sheriff's office there. Great representation also by some of our nonprofits that do amazing work. The Safety Compass, who deals with rescuing people from sex trafficking, had a great presentation. It was a sobering event. I learned a lot about what happens in Clackamas County and what we're doing to reduce the crimes against children and reduce crimes against those that are being trafficked in our community. So that was a good event for us to be represented in, and it was definitely educational. Had a great time there, building good relationships and trying to figure out how to have Clackamas County even be safer and to protect people that need protection. So that was a good event. That same week, I went to the League of Minority Voters event, where the purpose is to try to bring people from all different walks of life and to find common ground to have good government, a really nonpartisan focus in its presentation. So with different leaders, community leaders, activists, people in the community. In Portland, we had a great event. I want to thank the League of Minority Voters for the work that they're doing in our community and here in the Tri-County area. And it was a really an honor to be there and represent Clackamas County at that event. And I want to echo the gratitude that we all have for the clerk and her staff right now. It is a breath of fresh air to see this election cycle and run much smoother than the one that Commissioner Savas and I participated in the last large cycle. We're seeing votes be counted in a timely manner. I think that the Clackamas County has confidence in the work being done in that office. And I really want to thank everyone who took time out of their day to volunteer to be involved in that democratic process, to see how it works. There's a lot involved there. Gary, I know that you go down and you like to be involved in that vote counting process, from receiving the votes, the custody, the chain of custody issues, how they verify signatures, the whole process that goes on with that. And so that is a really important process for people to be engaged in. I know a lot of our citizens engage in that. So that's great. I want to take a second too, because I can, and maybe this is unusual. One of the most important races that happened this week was Multnomah County's DA race. And I really I have a lot of hope for the Portland area in Oregon because of this race. There was a repudiation against the incumbent Mike Schmidt, and we now have a new DA in Portland. His name is Nathan Vasquez, and I am fully confident that he will really respect the rule of law, help make the streets of Portland safer, and I think that he will prosecute property crimes, that he will begin to bring Multnomah County to mirror a little bit more what Washington County's numbers are and Clackamas County's numbers are, and how to create safer communities. I really believe that is a win for the entire state of Oregon and the region. And I want to congratulate. I spent some time in Portland at their election party, and I just want to thank Nathan for stepping up and running, and that at least he has my full confidence that we're going to see improvement in an area that has been chronically a disaster around public safety and prosecuting crimes in the Portland, in Multnomah County. So I think it's my perception that our DA, John Wentworth, and Kevin Barton are ecstatic to start to work with him to create a safer metro area, and that there will be some commonality and coordination that will go a long way to help our communities be safer. So I thank you, Nathan, for running, and congratulations. I'm bringing that race up specifically because Mike Schmidt's already conceded, so that race is really over. But I think it's an important enough race that was had national attention on a local DA race, that it's important for us to mention because it indirectly impacts us, and the things that happen in Portland don't happen in a vacuum. They impact the entire region. I'm from that area. I work in that area. My family still lives in that area, like many of us, and so we care about the health of Portland. And then I look forward to getting into my second budget week this next week, and as we begin to try to make sure that we are being transparent and good with taxpayer dollars, and looking with a fine-tooth comb throughout the entire budget and every agency in the county to make sure that we are doing good local government and being fiscally responsible and good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And so with that, Chair, I will pass the baton.
Thank you very much, Commissioner West. Commissioner Savas, you're up.
Yeah, thank you. So I first want to just share my gratitude with working with legal counsel Stephen Madcore, and I'm going to digress a little bit, just tell you a little bit about my background. I started out really young, doing a lot of things in a lot of professions where it was more development and engineers, and we're arguing debating, trying different things, and trying to see eye to eye on things. And also got into avionics and aerospace and design and so forth, and also how to build something. So I had to work in this mindset of how to have tough discussions without taking it personal. And as a segue, Mr. Madcore and I have had some tough discussions, and we've never taken it personal. And I just want to appreciate that intellectual ability to debate, keep your cool, and knowing that we're trying to get the best outcomes and serve the people of this county. I appreciate our relationship and what you've contributed to Clackamas County in that way. So thank you. Chair, I mentioned on Tuesday that I'd share a little bit more about the JPAC trip, and a lot was there. We did have always interested to hear experts, national experts. One of those was on the Highway Trust Fund, well-known, nationally recognized expert on the Highway Trust Fund. Not an economist, as he stated, because my question was about the economics of the Highway Trust Fund and how we got here. But more specifically, as I mentioned on Tuesday, we've watched the ineffectiveness of gas tax, just gradually, keep up with the number of vehicles registered, the number of miles being driven, all those things. And of course, the gradual inflation we saw prior to COVID. And so we've watched that deteriorate. Gas mileage, better gas mileage equates to less gas tax per mile. It's slowly eroded away the effect of that. So here comes COVID. And COVID creates really this inflationary spike because of lack of people to work out there, so there's lack of materials, and so prices start going up in a lot of areas. But in the construction industry, I mean, shoot, I think if you remember, a 2x4 cost almost $10 back in the peak of COVID, right? So we don't use a lot of 2x4s in construction, but steel has gone up and maintained high for quite a while. Concrete has gone up, asphalt. So all these things have really slowly eroded the buying power of gas tax. And several years ago, we went to Washington, D.C. I think about 5 or 6 years ago before COVID, we had a nationally recognized economist. And the national economist said that if this transportation package passes, beware, because expect really an inflationary spike. And the reason is that if you put out a whole lot of money and start building all these projects, you don't have enough people, you don't have enough engineers, workers, concrete, steel, aggregate, asphalt, all those things. So expect that. So my question to this national expert on the Highway Trust Fund, how much of our inflationary spike was due to COVID and how much it is due to the influx of all this transportation money? The federal government's printed money, essentially, to do all this. And he didn't have the answer. He basically said, our crisis is both. So it's a double hit, right? It's really a double punch in that regard. But the other thing that's more significant than all of that is, again, in another way to look at it, is our buying power of the gas tax fund in the Highway Trust Fund, state, federal, however you want to look at it, that buying power has dropped significantly. So now we have this crisis coupled with the other one that I brought up both last week and also came up today because we had someone from the National Transportation Association, I forgot what it was, an expert, and also someone from ODOT talking about this very thing. And Transportation for America was what this lady was representing. And this very topic that we're talking about right now has come up, and what this nation's doing about it. And she really felt that it's up to the states really to lead this charge, don't wait for the federal government to come and solve this. And my message in Washington, D.C., and my message to here in Oregon is, you all pass these laws banning essentially gasoline-powered vehicles by whichever state you live in. Is 2030, 2035, 2045, 2050. So there's this phase out. The automotive industry isn't going to sit back and wait, right? The industry is going to, and they already have, decommissioned the tooling and assembly lines for internal combustion engines. So whether it's fuel cells or it's electric vehicles, that is the killer for the Highway Trust Fund. and so forth. Is gas tax going to be the answer? No. But it'll live longer, but they're getting mechanisms to figure out the most fair and equitable way. But we did hear from ODOT stating again, and they've always been consistent with this, I'll give them that it's not going to be like a road user fee on top of gas tax. It's going to be either or. It's going to be a choice. And if you don't want your privacy, if you have privacy concerns, you can have an opt-out, which will maybe have a fixed fee. So they're working on ways of trying to figure out this crisis. But I just want to, again, redress this for a future discussion about how we can actually be mindful, because it's not about cutting ODOT's budget as much as, or their audit or whatnot. It is this mathematical certainty that at a certain point, I won't call it a funding cliff. It's almost like a sinkhole. It's going to fall. I think it's just going to implode. So we just got to be ahead of it. And the good news is, I heard, and we heard it again this morning, that there's the 15 states in the country, most of them West Coast, the entire West Coast, are applying for federal funds to study road user fee. And I can tell you California, Oregon, and Washington, Nevada, Colorado, a number of them are all looking into this as to get ahead of this. It's incumbent upon our federal lawmakers to pass the law to ban these vehicles, which is the detriment of the demise of the gas tax highway fund. In our states that have done it as well, it's up to them to say, okay, you've put the death knell on eventually the death knell to the highway trust fund. It's up to you to fix it. So hopefully we have the fortitude of our elected officials in the state legislature to make the move and do it equitably. And so what I've seen thus far, be frank with you, what I've seen thus far is that they've added to the ORGO, or the road user charge program, and got some messaging in there that gives me a little bit more assurance that if you have a concern or a fear, there's a fix for you, or there's an option for you, so you don't have to choose this. But they're making it really as fair as possible. They're making sure that every aspect or person, whether you live in Eastern Oregon or whatnot, that there is a solution that makes it fair for everyone. So again, it's not an additional tax. It's a replacement. How's it being looked? I know that's dangerous territory, but I'm laying it out there.
Well, I'm really thankful for your update. Keep bringing those updates back. I think it's important that we're able to talk about it and let the people know. Anything else, Paul?
That's all I have for today.
Thank you very much. Stephen Madcourt, you're retiring. I've known you 7.5 going on 8 years. Thank you for your indulgences, and thank you for your patience for a person like myself who is not a lawyer or law student, and I say, gee, why can't we do this? And you come back and tactfully say, well, because it's against the law. And so we always try to, as citizens, do what we want for best for the citizens, and then we find out there are roadblocks some ways. But I think you've been very fair. If we can't do something one way, we'll find another way to do it. I remember, you don't remember this, I remember one of the first discussions we had in an elevator, and it might have been in 2013 or 14. I was riding up in the elevator, and you mentioned that you were buying a John Deere tractor. And I said, what? I had no idea you had your farm out there on the Clackamas River Drive. I says, well, you're not so bad after all, now are you? You're an attorney, you know, well-esteemed and stuff, and I had no idea how much you love nature and working your property and your ground and taking care of what you own, and I know you're going to be doing some of that. Another time I rode up in the elevator with you, and I guess elevators are the place where we talk around here, and you mentioned that you were getting married, and I said, what? Oh, my Lord, help us all. And because I'm able to jest with you. And he says, yeah, she's an attorney too. I says, oh my gosh, really? Well, yeah, she works at Multnomah County. She's my counterpart. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, because they had so much in common, yet very different people. Just to be able to come home at the end of the day and either commiserate or cheer about what you did at your neighboring counties. Multnomah County is not evil, nor is their legal department. And believe it or not, folks, we share much in common with their legal department, because one county is one county. Just want to know that. I will miss you. I may call you from time to time, but thank you for serving Clackamas County. Regarding Metro, they're still at it with trying to fiddle around with the tax and make it permanent or increase it or whatever they want to do, because they realize there's so much money in this supported housing services measure that they need more of it for themselves, even though they don't deliver a single house or a single apartment or feed a person. And we're still battling that. And what's not lost on me through this whole debate, and I want to just know this, they decided to do this during the spring election, when we're all busy. They decided to do this, decision-making, all these meetings, during the 3 counties' budget. They know exactly what's going on. And the 3 chairs of the counties were pretty much united on telling Metro no. And that is an important partnership that we have to tell Metro no. And so we're moving forward with that. There's much more to come on that. We had a meeting. I said it this week, I'm going to say it again. This week, Monday, they revealed the results of the, quote, new poll that they dropped in support of the increasing the Metro tax or doing something with it or making it permanent, but all the questions were push polls. I objected to one question weeks ago. They totally removed the question, thank you very much, but it was still a push poll. And we finally have the crosstabs and the questions to go back and evaluate it. But it was a great discussion. They revealed to us the information. Then there's somebody online who I've never even met. I don't know who this person is. And she gets in the queue and she says, well, I see your questions here, but there's not a question factored in if there's opposition or what the opposition's thoughts are on this. It's just a pro-tax. You didn't ask that question because I understand that the counties of Washington and Clackamas County oppose this. So why didn't you ask that question or something to give you information, to study information, what the opposition would do? And the pollster, who's FM3? Yeah, FM3 said, well, quite frankly, the Washington County and Clackamas County governments really don't matter. Yeah. And so that's the attitude. I will say this. Yes, we do matter. We will matter with the largest roar you've ever seen out of this county. I can't speak for Multnomah County. I can speak for Washington County, that they are ready to go at it just like we are. If they decide to run a tax increase or redo that tax this November, the drop-dead deadline to submit the ballot languages is August 16. So we need to be ready ahead of time. Just saying. Budget hearings. We're having budget hearings all next week. For the public, on Wednesday, the 29th at 6 p.m. is your opportunity to come forward and testify if you wish to do so. That is specifically for the public to opine on the budget. And Gary, it's online, correct?
Both in person and online. Yes.
But is the budget listed online?
Yes.
Yeah. And what does anybody know what the URL for that is?
clackamas.us/budget.
Ooh, okay, that should be easy. Clackamas budget, you'll probably find it. Thank you very much. I want to talk about elections for a moment from a different lens. I think it's been 16 years now, Paul, correct me, 2008, when I say the voters at Clackamas County voted for 5 commissioners, a nonpartisan race. And the rules have been the same since 2008, I believe. And to this day, it's been 16 years. People don't understand what the primary election results mean. They don't understand what a runoff means. They think people have lost, and maybe they have not lost. Our ballots are still being counted. So in order to prevail in the primary, you must receive 50% plus 1 vote, not 51%. 50% plus 1 vote to prevail. Ballots are still coming in, and we're still seeing adjustments to those numbers. And as we had results come in on Tuesday, and I think you're going to see some different results when we finish doing that. So just wanted to let you folks know that. It's a nonpartisan race. It's not like the other races. I think most of the county commissions have nonpartisan races, and the rules are a little bit different. That's about all I have to say. Seeing no further business before this commission, we are adjourned.